We've got to change everything. You start getting into the African knowledge, you've got to change the map. You can't go through life, if you're going to be scientific, and have the European map, the Mercator map. It's a pseudo-scientific map developed 500 years ago. You need the Peters projection map, which puts Africa where? At the center. The Mercator map put Europeans at the center and distorted everything. So you need to get a whole new map process when you get into the African knowledge. And then you need a chronology in your mind. Once you have a chronology in your mind, then you don't worry about the Europeans. I don't argue with them no more. I just lay it out. How can you consider yourselves to be the fathers of culture and civilization, mathematics, philosophy, and medicine when you didn't have reading and writing? To have mathematics, to write about philosophy, to have wisdom books, to have medical texts, you need writing. There's no Europeans who could claim writing before 700, 800 BC. Already, thousands of years of writing has taken place among the Africans. Thousands of years of writing has taken place among the Western Asians. Thousands of years of writing has taken place among the people in the Indus Valley. So how can you claim to be the founders of civilization? Well, actually, we have a quote from a European scholar in a book called The Making of Europe, and he starts off on page 3 with, Europeans are by no means the founders of human civilization. Half of Europe's history had passed before anyone in Europe, half of Africa's history had passed before anyone in Europe could read or write. The priests of Egypt began to keep written records 3000 to 4000 BC. And he goes on to say that unfortunately, the poems of Homer were not being written in Europe until 2,000 years later. And he finally said, the record of the European is unfortunately in his garbage outside of his caves. Now that's not Dr. J. That's written by a European. In the Power Pack, which we have in the back, we have all of this type of information available. Quotes from the European. Take their own records and bring it right back to them. Just as the Nation of Islam took the history of Jews' involvement in slavery and brought it right back to them, so they're into complete denial. They don't know what the hell happened to them. Didn't we help you all with civil rights? Yes, you helped us get your rights through our struggle. And that's what happened. We even understand that now. But as we wind down, we're talking about an African geography that puts Africa at the center. We're talking about an African chronology that puts Kemet at the center. Thousands of years of African development, the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, the New Kingdom, the Nubian Renaissance, before the Europeans could read or write. And once you have this type of timeline, you can start to work with this. In the Power Pack, we have the Asahiya timeline. And then once we start to take a little bit of it, we might as well go the whole hog and take it all. In Washington, D.C., overlooking the city of Washington, is a monument that has not a damn thing to do with Europeans. It's an African symbol of resurrection. It has to do with the male and the female principle. It has to do with the centrality of the female principle, bringing forth life. This is a deep concept in your culture, but you don't know it because we are culturally illiterate when it comes to our culture. That's why African-centeredness is absolutely necessary for us. The African-centered educational movement is absolutely necessary. When you get that information, what do you do with it? You organize manhood and womanhoods organizations, brotherhoods and sisterhoods. But not brotherhoods and sisterhood for the glory of individuals. Brotherhoods and sisterhood that are the trusteeship of your people spiritually. That's what this great pillar temple represents. This pillar temple inspired the Greeks. 1,000 years later, the Parthenon was built on the Acropolis. 500 years after this building was built, Solomon was inspired to build his pillar temple in Jerusalem. But what you need to understand about this pillar temple, it speaks to what you have to do. Form the brotherhoods and the sisterhoods that are about not wearing some clothes and not step dancing and not showing out and not dividing of our people, but taking the trusteeship of our people spiritually and making it work for you. We have to reform our Masonic orders, reform our Eastern Stars, reform our fraternal system into African spiritual brotherhoods and sisterhoods. Just as we have to take our church and make it an African spiritual center, creating God, Allah, in our image. So there's a lot of work that we have to do.